night is dark and full of theories.
What if Ned Stark didn't tell Cersei he knew the truth? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. If this video gets 3,000 likes, we'll release a part 2. The Tower of the Hand stands quiet in the late afternoon sun, but inside Ned Stark's solar, the air is thick with tension. Ned sits at his desk, the leather-bound book before him still open to the page that changed everything. The genealogy of House Baratheon, line after line of black-haired heirs, generation after generation of dark-haired children. And then the royal line. Joffrey, golden-haired. Myrcella, golden-haired. Tommen, golden-haired. The seed is strong, Jon Arryn had said. The words echo in Ned's mind as he stares at the evidence before him. Not one of Robert's children bears his coloring. Not one. He closes the book slowly, his hands trembling. The truth is undeniable now. Joffrey is not Robert's son. None of them are. Cersei's children are born of incest, products of her unnatural union with her brother, Jaime. The golden-haired Lannister twins have cuckolded the king and placed their bastards in line for the Iron Throne. Ned rises from his chair and moves toward the window, looking out over King's Landing. The city sprawls before him, hundreds of thousands of souls living under the rule of a king who doesn't know his own heirs are frauds. His first instinct screams at him, confront Cersei. Give her the chance to flee with her children. Show mercy to the innocent babes who have no say in their parents' sins. But then another thought intrudes. Cold and practical. If he warns Cersei, he gives the Lannisters time to act, time to prepare, time to strike first. His hand moves to his side, where the wound from the Lannister sword still aches. Jaime Lannister had already attacked him in the streets of King's Landing and killed his men, even Jory. The Lannisters have shown what they're capable of. They've demonstrated their ruthlessness, and his daughters are here. Sansa and Arya are in the Red Keep, within reach of Lannister claws. Ned's jaw tightens. No, he cannot give Cersei warning. He cannot give the Lannisters the advantage of surprise. If they are as dangerous as they appear, dangerous enough to kill Jon Arryn, dangerous enough to push Bran Stark from a tower window, then mercy could cost him everything. Could cost his children everything. He must tell Robert. He must wait for the king to return from his hunt and present him with the truth. Let Robert decide the fate of Cersei's children. But there will be no warning. No chance for the lioness to bear her claws first. The decision settles over Ned like a heavy cloak. It feels wrong. It feels like a betrayal of the honor that has guided his entire life. But he thinks of Sansa, thinks of Arya, thinks of Robb and Bran and Rickon back in Winterfell. He thinks of the realm, of the chaos that could erupt if the Lannisters move first. Sometimes honor must take a different shape. Ned returns to his desk and begins to write. A letter to Stannis Baratheon at Dragonstone, telling him what he's discovered. Insurance, should something happen before Robert returns. He doesn't seal it yet. He'll wait to see Robert's reaction first. But the words are ready, just in case. 3 more days pass. 3 days where Ned walks the halls of the Red Keep with a secret burning in his chest. He watches Cersei during court sessions, watches her stand beside the throne with her golden-haired children. She suspects nothing. Good. He doubles the guard around his daughters. Sansa doesn't understand why her father suddenly seems so protective, so insistent she stay close to the Tower of the Hand. Arya chafes at the restrictions, arguing she wants to practice her water dancing with Syrio Forel. Ned allows it, but sends 4 guards with her instead of the usual 2. On the 4th day, a rider arrives from the south. The king's hunting party has been spotted an hour's ride from the city. They'll arrive by nightfall. Ned's heart pounds. Finally he can tell Robert the truth and let the king render justice. Let Robert decide what happens to the children. At least then the decision won't rely solely on Ned's shoulders. But when the royal party finally enters through the city gates, something is immediately wrong. The formation is too tight, too urgent. The hunters aren't laughing or boasting about their kills. Instead, they're rushing, and at the center of the group is a wagon covered with furs and blankets. Ned's stomach drops. He races down from the Tower of the Hand, his injured leg screaming in protest. But the time he reaches the courtyard, servants and guards are already swarming around the wagon. Grand Maester Pycelle rushes through the crowd, his chain of office clinking. And then Ned sees him, Robert Baratheon, being carried from the wagon by 4 strong men, The king's face is pale, sheened with sweat. His hunting leathers are soaked with blood, and his massive body seems somehow diminishingly fragile.
Quickly! Get his grace into his chambers. Careful with him.
Ned pushes forward, and Robert's eyes find him through the chaos. The king tries to speak, but winces in pain instead. They carry Robert to his bedchamber, that massive bed where the king of the Seven Kingdoms now lies broken and bleeding. Pycelle examines him while Ned stands nearby, his heart a stone in his chest. Finally, the Grand Maester straightens, his face grave.
The boar gored him deep, my lord. The wound has festered during his journey back. I have given him milk of the poppy for the pain, but...
Can you save him?
I will do everything in my power, Lord Stark. But you should prepare yourself. The king should make his final wishes known while he still can.
The words hit like a hammer blow. Robert is dying, the king is dying, and Ned hasn't told him the truth yet. Hasn't warned him about Cersei, about Joffrey, about the false heirs to his throne. Ned wakes while Pycelle works, while servants come and go with water and bandages and herbs. Cersei arrives at some point, her face a mask of wifely concern. Ned watches her like a hawk, looking for any sign of satisfaction, any hint that this was planned. But if it was murder, he sees no evidence of it. Robert was hunting drunk, everyone knows this. The king's love of wine made him careless, made him slow. An angry boar did the rest. Sometimes death is just death, not conspiracy. But the result is the same. Robert is dying, and the realm doesn't know his heirs or bastards. When Pycelle finally allows Ned to approach the bedside, Cersei is there.
Your Grace, I need to speak with the king, alone.
Cersei's eyes narrow. For a moment he thinks she'll refuse, but then Robert speaks, his voice weak but still carrying that familiar authority.
Leave us, woman. Ned and I have things to discuss.
Cersei's face hardens, but she curtsies and withdraws. As she passes Ned, their eyes meet, and he sees suspicion there. She knows something is wrong, but she leaves, the door closing behind her with a soft click. Ned moves closer to the bed. Robert looks at him, and despite the pain, despite the milk of the poppy clouding his eyes, the king manages a weak smile.
Knew you'd come, Ned. Always there when I need you.
Robert, I need to tell you something before... Well, you can still hear me.
Tell me, then, Ned. No secrets between us. Not now.
I found out what Jon Arryn was investigating before he died. I know what he learned. Your children, Robert. Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen. They're not yours.
The words hang in the air like smoke. Robert stares at him, not comprehending at first. Then confusion crosses his face, followed by disbelief.
Not... What are you saying?
Cersei has been unfaithful. Her children are not yours. They're Jaime's. The twins have been together. All three children are products of their incest.
For a long moment, Robert doesn't react. He just lies there, staring at the canopy above his bed. Then his breathing changes, becomes faster, harsher. His face flushes, red despite his weakness.
No, you must be...
I've seen the evidence. Jon Arryn documented it. Every Baratheon heir for 300 years has had black hair. You have had 70 bastards across the realm, Robert. Every single one has your black hair. But your true-born children, they're all golden-haired Lannisters.
The truth hits Robert like a physical blow. His hands clench into fists, his massive body shaking, and then something Ned doesn't expect happens. The king roars. It's a sound of pure rage, of betrayal and fury given voice. Robert's eyes fly open wide, and suddenly there's fire in them again. The dying king seems to find new strength, fueled by nothing but wrath.
That whore! That Lannister whore!
He sits up in his bed, and Ned reaches out to stop him.
Robert, you need to rest. You're badly wounded.
But Robert is beyond hearing. He tears the blankets away, revealing the massive bandage wrapped around his torso, already spotted with blood. The king swings his leg over the side of the bed.
How long has that bitch been making me a fool? How long has she been putting another man's bastards in line for my throne?
Robert, please.
Where is the Barristan?
His voice is so loud it must carry through half the Red Keep. Ned tries to physically restrain him, but Robert shoves him aside with surprising force. The king staggers to his feet, one hand pressed to his wounded side, the other reaching for his chamber doors. The doors burst open, and Sir Barristan Selmy rushes in, his white cloak billowing behind him. The old knight's face is alarmed.
Your Grace, you should not be out of bed.
Where are they? Where is that golden-haired bastard and his whore mother?
The Queen and Prince Joffrey are in the throne room, your grace, but you must return to bed. You are not well.
The throne room. Good.
He starts toward the door. Both Ned and Barristan move to stop him, but Robert rounds on them with such fury that they both stop and take a step back.
Don't you dare try to stop me. I am still king. I will see this done before I die.
Robert, you need to think about this. Your wound.
My wound can wait. This cannot, Ned. You're coming with me. You'll tell them what you told me. They'll bear witness to my justice.
He staggers into the corridor, and his servants scatter before him. Ned and Barristan exchange a desperate glance, but there's nothing they can do. The king is moving, driven by rage and betrayal, and they can only follow. Robert makes his way through the Red Keep like a wounded bear, one hand pressed to his bleeding side, the other braced against the wall for support. Servants and guards stare in shock as their king passes, pale and furious, and clearly dying but refusing to stop. They reach the great doors of the throne room, and Robert shoves them open with both hands. The door crashes against the walls, and everyone inside turns to stare. Cersei stands near the Iron Throne, speaking with several Lannister guards in their crimson cloaks. And there, at the base of the throne itself, stands Joffrey. The boy prince has one foot on the steps leading up to the twisted metal seat, as if he were just about to ascend. The tableau freezes as Robert stumbles into the room. Cersei's face goes white.
Get away from that throne!
His voice echoes through the chamber like thunder. Joffrey jumps back from the steps, his young face confused and frightened. Cersei immediately starts moving toward Robert, her expression shifting to concern.
Robert, what are you doing out of bed? You need your rest, your wound.
My wound is the least of your concerns, woman.
The king staggers toward them, and now Ned can see more people in the room. Lannister guards, at least a dozen of them. A few of Ned's own household guards by the side doors. This isn't good. This isn't controlled. But Robert is beyond caring about control. He points a shaking finger at Cersei.
I know the truth. I know what you've done. I know those golden-haired bastards aren't mine.
The words fall like an executioner's axe. Cersei stops moving, and just for a moment Ned sees something in her face. Not surprise. Recognition. She knows she's been discovered. Then her mask returns, and she draws herself up.
Robert, you're delirious. The fever is making you say...
Don't you dare lie to me. Not now. Ned has shown me the truth. Jon Arryn knew. Everyone knew except the fool king.
Joffrey steps forward, his face red with outrage.
How dare you speak to my mother that way? I am your son and heir, and...
You are no son of mine.
The king's roar silences the boy. Robert takes another step forward, his massive body shaking with rage.
You're Jaime Lannister's whelp, a product of incest and lies. And before I die, I will see you and your whore mother pay for what you've done.
Ned moves quickly to Robert's side, one hand on his sword. Sir Barristan does the same, his weathered face grim. Ned's household guards, 6 of them who had been waiting outside, rush into the throne room at the commotion. The Lannister guards move as well, hands going to their weapons. The tension in the room is thick enough to cut.
You drunken fool. You believe the lies of...
Sir Barristan, arrest the queen and that bastard boy. They'll face justice for treason.
Barristan doesn't hesitate. The Lord Commander draws his sword and starts towards Cersei. The Lannister guards draw their weapons in response, forming a protective circle around the queen and prince. And then everything happens at once. Joffrey, his face twisted with fear and rage, turns toward Robert. The boy's hand moves to his belt, and suddenly there's a knife in his grip. Not a ceremonial blade, a real weapon, the kind meant for killing. Ned sees it happening as if in slow motion. Joffrey lunges toward Robert, the knife raised. The king is too weak, too slow to defend himself.
No!
But he's too far away, still injured himself, unable to close the distance in time. Joffrey drives the blade forward with all the strength in his young body. The knife punches through Robert's throat, just above his collarbone. Blood sprays across the boy's face, across the floor, across everything. Robert's eyes go wide with shock. His hands come up to his neck, trying to staunch the flow, but it's hopeless. The King of the Seven Kingdoms stumbles backward, blood pouring between his fingers, and collapses to the marble floor. For one frozen heartbeat, no one moves. Everyone stares in horror at what just happened. Then Sir Barristan Selmy roars and charges. The old knight moves like lightning despite his years, his blade flashing in the torchlight. He cuts down 2 Lannister guards before they can raise their weapons. The throne room erupts into chaos. Ned's guards rush forward. Lannister guardsmen surge to meet them. Steel clashes against steel, and men start dying. Ned draws his sword despite the pain in his leg and moves to Robert's side. The king is dying, choking on his own blood, his eyes already glazing over. Ned kneels beside him, but there's nothing he can do. Nothing anyone can do. Robert Baratheon, the first of his name, King of the Andals and First Man, dies on the floor of his own throne room, murdered by the boy he thought was his son. The battle rages around him. Sir Barristan fights like a man possessed, cutting through Lannister guards with precise, lethal efficiency. He's heading for Joffrey, who stands frozen with the bloody knife still in his hands, his face spattered with the king's blood. Cersei screams for more guards. The doors burst open, and suddenly there are more red cloaks flooding into the room. Too many. Far too many. And these aren't just Lannister's house guards. They are gold cloaks, the city watch of King's Landing. Dozens of them, all moving in coordinated formation, all moving to surround Ned, Barristan, and the few northern guards. Ned's heart sinks. The city watch has been bought. The Lannisters have prepared for this possibility. Barristan reaches Joffrey and grabs the boy by the collar, his sword at the prince's throat. Cersei screams, but Sir Barristan's voice cuts through the chaos.
Stop! All of you stop or the boy dies.
The fighting pauses. Gold cloaks and Lannister guards freeze, their weapons still raised. Cersei's face a mask of terror.
Don't hurt him. Please, don't hurt my son.
Your son just murdered the king. He'll face justice for...
From behind, one of the Kingsguard who'd been stationed outside rushes in, Sir Boros Blunt. But instead of supporting his Lord Commander, Blunt attacks him. Barristan sees it coming at the last second and shoves Joffrey aside, bringing his sword up to the parry. The two Kingsguard clash, and in that moment of distraction, the gold cloaks surge forward. Ned fights desperately, his northern guards around him, but they're hopelessly outnumbered. For every gold cloak they cut down, 2 more take his place. These aren't skilled fighters, but there are dozens of them, and Ned's group numbers less than 10. One of his guards, Heward, takes a spear through the chest. Another falls with a sword in his belly. Ned himself takes a cut across his arm, then another along his side. His injured leg finally gives out, and he goes down to one knee. This is it. This is how it ends. Betrayed and murdered in the throne room, just like Robert. But then Sir Barristan is there, fighting his way to Ned's side. The old knight is bleeding from multiple wounds, but he fights on with the skill of legend. Another Kingsguard joins him, Sir Mandon Moore, one of the few who remained loyal to Robert's memory.
We cannot hold this position. We must flee.
My daughters.
I'll get them. But we must go, now.
The old knight grabs Ned under one arm and hauls him to his feet. Sir Mandon takes the other side. The few remaining North guards form up around them, and they fight their way toward the side door. Gold cloaks and Lannister guards press in from all sides. Ned's people are dying, cut down one by one to buy him time to escape. It's a slaughter, a desperate fight through the halls of the Red Keep. Barristan leads them through the corridors he knows better than anyone, paths that avoid the main thoroughfares. They fight through 2 more groups of gold cloaks, leaving bodies in their wake. By the time they reach the Tower of the Hand, only Barristan, Mandon, Ned, and 2 northern guards remain. Ned's household is in chaos. Servants scatter as armed men approach. Septa Mordane appears from one of the rooms, her face pale.
Where are my daughters?
Lady Sansa is in her chamber, my lord. Lady Arya is...
Arya comes running down the hall, Syrio Farrell behind her. The Bravosi water dancer has his wooden practice sword in hand, and blood on his sleeve.
Some gold cloaks came for the girl. I stopped them. More will come.
Ned has never been more grateful to see anyone in his life.
Get Sansa. We're leaving. Now.
There is no time for explanations, no time for goodbyes. They gather what they can. Ned's daughters, a few loyal servants, whatever weapons and supplies they can grab in minutes. The sound of marching boots echoes through the corridors. The Lannisters are coming in force. Sir Barristan leads them down to the castle stables. Horses are waiting, whether by fortune or divine providence. Ned doesn't question it. They mount up, Sansa behind one guard, Arya behind another, Ned barely able to stay in his saddle. They burst out of the Red Keep's gates before the gold cloaks can close on them. Shouts rise behind them, crossbow bolts fly, and one of the guards takes a bolt in the back and falls from his horse. But the rest make it through, racing through the streets of King's Landing toward the city gates. People scatter before them. Ned clings to his horse's mane, his vision swimming from pain and blood loss. But he stays conscious, stays focused on one thing, getting his daughters out of this damned city alive. The King's Gate looms ahead. Gold cloaks are rushing to close in, to trap them inside.
Ride. Don't stop for anything.
They hit the gates at full gallop. Sir Mandon cuts down one of the gold cloaks. Barristan takes down 2 more, and then they're through, pounding across the bridge and onto the King's Road beyond. Horns sound behind them. The Lannisters will send riders in pursuit, but for now, they're free. For now, they're alive. As the towers of King's Landing disappear behind him, finally Ned lets himself feel the horror of what just happened. Robert is dead, murdered by Joffrey in front of witnesses, and the Lannisters control the capital, control the City Watch. control the throne. Sansa is crying. Arya looks stunned. Syrio rides in grim silence. Sir Barristan's face is hard as stone. They ride through the night, putting as much distance as possible between themselves and King's Landing. By dawn, they've covered 30 miles. They stop only long enough to tend to the wounded and water the horses, then ride on. Ned knows what's coming. The Lannisters will spread lies, will claim he tried to usurp the throne, will paint him as a traitor. They'll hunt him across the 7 kingdoms if they can. But he has something they don't. He has the truth, and he has allies. Stannis Baratheon will know what to do. Stannis will have figured it all out like Jon Arryn did. Together they can bring the Lannisters down and put the rightful heir on the throne. They just have to survive long enough to reach him. The journey north is brutal and desperate. Ned's injuries slow them down, and they're forced to stop more frequently than Barristan would like. The old knight keeps looking over his shoulder, expecting Lannister riders to appear on the horizon at any moment. But the pursuit never materializes. Either the Lannisters are focused on securing their power in King's Landing, or they're tracking the fleeing party more subtly. Either way, the group makes a steady progress north. They avoid the main roads where possible, taking smaller paths through the countryside. Sir Barristan and Sir Mandon take turns riding ahead to scout for dangers. Syrio Forel stays close to the daughters, his strange water-dancing sword always ready despite being made of wood. The Bravosi has proven invaluable. His quick thinking saved Arya from capture, and his skills as a scout and fighter rival even the Kingsguard. On the 3rd day, they encounter a group of travelers at a crossroads inn. The news they bring makes Ned's blood run cold. The story has already spread across the kingdoms, but it's not truth that travels on the tongues of small folk and merchants. It's a lie, carefully crafted and spread by Lannister ravens. Lord Eddard Stark, Hand of the King, assassinated King Robert Baratheon in his sickbed. The noble Ned Stark, driven by ambition and northern greed, murdered his oldest friend to seize power for himself. Young Prince Joffrey, Robert's true-born heir, witnessed the treachery and tried to stop it. Queen Cersei barely escaped with her life as Stark's Northmen savages tried to slaughter the entire royal family. The lies are so bold, so outrageous, that Ned can barely comprehend them, but he sees the effect immediately. The innkeeper looks at him with suspicion. Other travelers give their group a wide berth. Someone had even sent a raven ahead. There's a bounty on Ned's head. 10,000 gold dragons for the traitor who killed the king. They leave the inn quickly, before someone decides those gold dragons are worth the risk. That night, camped in a forest clearing, Ned finally tells his daughters the full truth. Sansa refuses to believe it at first, insisting that Joffrey would never do such a thing. But Arya saw Ned's blood-soaked clothes, saw the desperate fight from the capital. She believes. Eventually, so does Sansa. And that's when his eldest daughter breaks down, sobbing for her shattered dreams of being queen, for the boy she thought she loved, who turned out to be a monster. Arya looks just as angry, that fierce wolf's blood running strong in his youngest daughter. Sir Barristan speaks little during the journey, but Ned sees the grief etched into the old knight's face. Barristan served Robert faithfully for years, and he watched his king die on a throne room floor. The failure weighs on him heavily. One night, the Lord Commander approaches Ned as the others sleep.
I should have seen it. Should have been faster. I failed my king. You saved my daughters and me. You kept through a dozen men to get us out of that death trap. Robert's murder is not on your conscience, Sir Barristan. It's on the Lannisters. The Kingsguard has been corrupted. Sir Barros turned on me. Others stood aside and let it happen. Only Sir Mandon stood with honor. Then we rebuild. Then we put the rightful king on the throne. You'll choose knights who deserve the white cloak.
The old knight nods, slowly, but the pain doesn't leave his eyes. They cross the neck 10 days after fleeing King's Landing. The moment they enter the north, Ned feels something shift. This is his land, his people. Here the Lannisters' lies will find less purchase. Messengers are sent ahead to Winterfell. Ned needs Robb to know what happened, needs him to prepare for what's coming, because war is coming. The moment Joffrey stabbed Robert, the moment the Lannisters chose to cover the truth with lies, war became inevitable. Days later, they finally see the walls of Winterfell rising in the distance. Ned has never been more grateful to see his home. But as he approaches the castle, Ned notices something unusual. The grounds outside the walls are filled with tents and campfires. Hundreds of them, maybe more. Banners fly in the wind. Stark, Karstark, Umber, Mormont, Manderley. Dozens of northern houses. The banners have all been called. They ride through the camp, and northern soldiers turn to stare. Then someone recognizes him, and a cheer goes up.
Lord Stark! Lord Stark has returned!
The gates of Winterfell open, and Robb comes riding out. His son looks older somehow, harder. He's wearing armor and has a sword at his side. Behind him are Maester Luwin, Sir Roderick Cassel, and the Lords of the North. Robb dismounts and embraces his father fiercely. Then he steps back, his face grave.
Father, thank the gods you're alive. We heard the ravens from King's Landing said... I know what they said. It's all lies, Robb. Every word. I know. I never believed them. None of us did.
Those southern bastards must think we're stupid as sheeps. As if Ned Stark would murder his oldest friend. We know better.
Ned feels a surge of pride and gratitude. His people know him. They know his honor. The Lannisters' lies won't work here.
When the ravens came with news of the king's death and accusations against you, I called the banners immediately. Every house in the north is sending men. We have 8,000 already here, with more arriving daily.
Ned stares at his son, seeing not a boy, but a lord. A leader who made a crucial decision and acted on it without hesitation.
You did well, Robb. You did exactly right.
They move inside the castle, and in the Great Hall, Ned tells the full story. How he discovered the truth about Joffrey's parentage. How he waited to tell Robert. How the king's rage drove him to confront Cersei and Joffrey despite his mortal wound. How Joffrey murdered Robert in front of witnesses. How the Lannisters had already bought the City Watch and turned the Kingsguard against them. The Northern Lords listen in silence. When Ned finishes, that silence stretches for a long moment.
So, the boy on the Iron Throne is a bastard born of incest, with no claim to the crown, and murdered the rightful king to keep his secrets safe.
Yes, then we march south and take his head. No Lannister bastard gives orders to the north.
It's not that simple. Robert had brothers, true brothers, with legitimate claims. Stannis Baratheon is the rightful heir now. We need to send a raven to Dragonstone. Tell Stannis what happened. Tell him we support his claim. With the north behind him, he'll have the strength to challenge the Lannisters.
Robb nods and immediately sends for ravens and writing materials. Ned composes the message carefully, laying out everything he learned and witnessed. He affirms Stannis' right to the throne and pledges the North's support. He signs it and seals it with the Stark direwolf. 3 ravens are sent to ensure that at least one reaches Dragonstone. That night, Ned sleeps in his own bed for the first time in months. Catelyn isn't there. She's still at Riverrun with her ailing father, but having his children safe under his roof again brings comfort. Sansa and Arya are home. Bran and Rickon never left. His family is together again, protected by ancient walls and loyal men. But he knows this peace is temporary. The Lannisters will come for him eventually. They have to, as long as Ned Stark lives. He's a witness to their crimes. As long as he can tell the truth about Joffrey's parentage and Robert's murder, he has a threat to their hold on power. Let them come. The North remembers, and the North will fight. The next weeks are a flurry of activity. More banners arrive daily. Serwins, Hornwoods, Dustins, even the mountain clans from the high hills. The North is gathering its full strength for the first time since Robert's rebellion. Training yards ring with the sound of steel on steel. Provisions are gathered from all across the North. Maester Luwin works day and night, coordinating supplies and logistics. Winterfell becomes an armored camp, preparing for war. And then, a month after fleeing King's Landing, a raven arrives from Dragonstone. Ned breaks the seal and reads Stannis Baratheon's response. The letter is characteristically brief and direct.
Lord Stark, I have received your accounts of events in King's Landing, and I already know the truth about Cersei's children. Jon Arryn shared his findings with me before he died. I had been gathering evidence, preparing to act. Robert's death changes everything. By rights and laws of succession, I am now the rightful king of the Seven Kingdoms. The bastard Joffrey sits on my throne through murder and lies. I am assembling my fleet. I will sail for the north within the fortnight. We will discuss strategy when I arrive. Stannis Baratheon, king of the Seven Kingdoms and protector of the realm.
Ned reads the letter twice, then shows it to Robb and the assembled lords.
King Stannis has a good ring to it. Better than that golden-haired little shit in King's Landing.
We should prepare provisions for his fleet as well. They'll need supplies after the voyage. See to it. When Stannis arrives, I want him to see that the North stands ready.
The preparations intensify. White Harbor, the North's only true port, becomes a hub of activity. Ships are requisitioned from northern fishermen and merchants. Food stores are moved to the harbor warehouses. Lord Wyman Manderley himself oversees the logistics, his massive bulk moving with surprising energy. 2 weeks later, sails appear on the horizon, dozens of them, then scores, then what seems like hundreds. Stannis Baratheon's fleet fills the bay at White Harbor, an impressive display of naval power. Ned rides to meet him with an honor guard of Northern Lords and Sir Barristan Selmy. When Stannis disembarks, he looks exactly as Ned remembers. Hard face, tight mouth, eyes that miss nothing. But there's something else now. A weight of authority, a sense of destiny. This is a man who knows he's the rightful king, and he'll claim what's his, or die trying. They clasp arms, and Stannis nods in greeting.
Lord Stark, or should I say Lord Hand, you served my brother well, and you'll serve me the same.
It's not a question. Ned bows.
I am yours to command, your grace. Good. We have much work ahead of us.
The king's retinue includes some impressive figures. Davos Seaworth, the smuggler turned knight who captained Stannis' fleet. Red priests and priestesses wearing strange robes and speaking of a Lord of Light. And nobles from the Stormlands and Crownlands who already declared for Stannis. That night, they hold a war council in Winterfell's Great Hall, Northern Lords mixed with Stannis' followers, and the discussion is intense and pragmatic. Maps are spread across tables. The situation is laid out starkly. The Lannisters control King's Landing and the Crownlands. They have the wealth of Casterly Rock and the armies of the Westerlands. Tywin Lannister is already marching east with a massive force. The Riverlands are in chaos. Lord Hoster Tully is dying, and raiders wearing Lannister colors are burning villages and attacking supply lines. The Vale remains neutral under Lysa Arryn's isolationist rule. She sealed the Bloody Gate and refuses to take sides. The Reach has declared for Renly, Stannis' traitorous brother. Dorne has made no moves yet, but they hate the Lannisters for what happened to Elia Martell. They could be potential allies. And then there's the Stormlands. Stannis' own region is split. Some lords support their rightful lord's claim, but others question his chances against the Lannisters' wealth and power. And disturbingly, there are reports of Stannis' younger brother Renly gathering supporters of his own. Lord Roose Bolton traces the map with a pale finger.
The Lannisters will march on the Riverlands first. Lord Tywin won't let raids on his territory go unanswered. He'll burn everything between Golden Tooth and the Trident. Catelyn's father is there. Her brother. We can't leave them to face Tywin alone. The Riverlands will bend or break. What matters is King's Landing. I need to take my capital and seek my claim before the other kingdoms can rally against me. If we march south and ignore Tywin's army, he'll come at us from behind. We'll be trapped between his forces and whatever the Lannisters have in the capital. We need to deal with Tywin first. Blunt his advance, scatter his forces, then make on King's Landing.
The debate continues deep into the night. Strategies are proposed and discarded. Forces are counted and recounted. The logistics of moving armies across vast distances are debated. It's Sir Davos Seaworth who finally poses something different. The old smuggler stands and points to the map.
What if we don't march at all? What if we sail?
All eyes turn to him.
We have the largest fleet in Westeros right here. Between King Stannis' ships and what Lord Manderley has assembled, we could transport 50,000 men by sea. Maybe more.
White Harbor can support it. We have enough ships, enough supplies.
We could sail down the east coast, around the Fingers and through the Bight, stay out of sight of the mainland, then through the narrow sea and straight to the Blackwater Bay. A naval assault on King's Landing. Bold. But the city has strong walls. We'll need more than boldness. We need the Lannisters to be looking somewhere else, to be committed somewhere else. What if we make them look elsewhere? What if we convince Tywin Lannister that we're massing for a great battle in the Riverlands?
Blackfish Brendan Tully, who arrived at Winterfell a week earlier with news of the Riverlands, speaks up.
Deception. Make Tywin think you're coming for him while you set sail for the capital.
It will require perfect timing, coordination, and perfect secrecy. If word leaks to the Lannisters, the plan fails.
The lords look at each other. It's risky. Perhaps the riskiest plan any of them had ever contemplated. But the alternative is a long, grinding war against an enemy with vast wealth and resources. Sometimes the boldest path is the best path. Stannis straightens, and his face is set with decision.
We do it. Lord Stark, work out the details of the description. I want Tywin Lannister convinced we're coming for him. Sir Davos, coordinate with Lord Manderley. I want every ship ready to sail within the month.
The lords bow. The plan is set. Over the following weeks, the deception is carefully crafted. Small raiding parties under the Umbers and Karstarks are sent south to strike at Lannister forges and supply lines. They're loud, aggressive, impossible to miss. Every raid is designed to suggest a larger force preparing to move. False reports are deliberately spread through taverns and brothels, places where Lannister spies are likely to hear them. Talk of a greater muster at Riverrun, rumors of northern lords swearing to crush Tywin Lannister once and for all. Meanwhile, Davos Seaworth works with forgers to create letters, documents that will accidentally fall into Lannister hands. Letters discussing the siege of Harrenhal, supply requisitions for an army preparing to move on the Westerlands. Every detail is designed to paint a picture. The North and Stannis' forces plan a massive offensive against Tywin Lannister. It's Lord Roose Bolton who suggests planting spies in Duskendale and other Crownland cities, men who will sell intelligence to the Lannisters, confirming their suspicions. The real military action happens in secret. At White Harbor, thousands of men board ships under cover of darkness. Supplies are loaded with brutal efficiency. The fleet assembles piece by piece, staying out of sight behind the breakwaters. Ned works day and night coordinating everything. His leg still aches from his injuries, but adrenaline and purpose keep him moving. This is it, the chance to bring the Lannisters down and seat the rightful king on the throne. One night, Robb finds him in his solar, poring over maps and supply lists.
You should rest, Father. You're still healing. I'll rest when this is done, when Joffrey faces justice for what he did to Robert. I want to come with you, to King's Landing. I'm Lord of Winterfell now, and you're needed here. If something goes wrong, if the plan fails, the North needs its lord to rally behind. But you called the banners when it mattered most. You made the right decision without hesitation. That's leadership, Robb. Now I need you to lead here. Keep the North strong. Keep our people safe. Then let me command the forces that stay behind. The raiders harassing Tywin. I can keep up the deception. Make him believe we're everywhere at once.
Ned considers this. Robb deserves the chance to lead war firsthand, and keeping the deception alive will be crucial.
Take the Umbers and Karstarks. Keep Tywin looking north, but don't engage in any major battles. Hit supply lines, scouts, foragers. Stay mobile.
Robb grins, and for a moment he looks like a boy again.
I won't fail you. I know you won't.
The final week before departure arrives. The fleet at White Harbor is ready. Over 200 ships carrying 20,000 men. Northern soldiers mixed with Stannis' Stormlanders, a combined force that's never sailed together before, but united by a common cause. The night before they sail, Ned gathers his family in the Godswood: Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran, and little Rickon. He kneels before the Heart Tree, the ancient weirwood that with its carved face, and prays to the old gods for strength and guidance. His children kneel with him, and in that moment Ned feels the weight of generations of Starks, all the lords who knelt here before him, who prayed for wisdom and courage. He carries their legacy forward. When he rises, he embraces each of his children, holds them tight, and tells them he loves them, because he knows what's coming. War. Battle. And no matter how well they plan, no matter how perfectly they execute, some of them wouldn't come home. But this is necessary. This is justice. Robert deserves justice. The realm deserves the truth. The next morning, Ned Stark sails south with Stannis Baratheon and 50,000 men. Sir Barristan Selmy stands at his side, white cloak rippling in the wind. Theon Greyjoy, who remained loyal throughout everything, serves as one of Ned's personal guards. The Blackfish commands a contingent of Riverland soldiers who made their way north. As the coast of the North disappears behind them, Ned allows himself one moment of reflection. Everything has changed since he rode south with Robert months ago. His friend is dead. The realm is at war. His family is scattered, but he's still fighting, still standing for truth and honor, and he won't stop until the Lannisters pay for what they've done. The fleet sails south, staying far from the coast to avoid detection. Days blend together, cold wind, gray seas, the constant motion of the ships. Men stay below decks as much as possible to avoid being spotted from shore. Sir Davos navigates them expertly, using his years of smuggling experience to find paths where they won't be seen. They pass the Vale's coast in the dead of night, slipping by the fingers like ghosts. Through the narrow sea they sail, the coast of the Crownlands always visible but always distant. And then, 3 weeks after leaving White Harbor, they round Crackclaw Point and see it ahead of them, Blackwater Bay, and beyond it, the towers of King's Landing rising against the sky. Davos orders the fleet to hold position just out of sight. They wait for nightfall, for the cover of darkness to make their approach. Stannis gathers his commanders for the final instructions. The plan is simple. Hit the harbor at dawn. Overwhelm the defenders before they can organize a response. Secure the gates and let the main force into the city. Take the Red Keep before the Lannisters can barricade themselves inside. Simple in concept, brutal in execution. As the sun sets, Ned stands at the rail and stares at the city where this all began, where Robert died, where Joffrey murdered his king and father. Sir Barristan joins him, the old knight's face grim.
Tomorrow we take it back. Tomorrow we bring justice.
Night falls. The fleet begins its final approach, oars dipping silently through dark water. Hundreds of ships, thousands of men, all moving in coordinated silence toward the sleeping capital. The walls of King's Landing loom closer. Ned can see torches on the battlements, the distant glow of the city within. And then, from the harbor, alarm bells start ringing. They've been spotted. Stannis doesn't hesitate.
All ships, attack! Take the city!
The fleet surges forward, oars beating frantically. Archers line the decks, arrows knocked. Soldiers grip their weapons, ready to storm ashore the moment they land. The harbor defenses wake up, but it's too late. The fleet is already there, already crashing against the docks and piers. Gangplanks slam down, and northern soldiers pour onto the shore alongside Stannis' Stormlanders. The battle for King's Landing has begun. Gold cloaks rush to meet them, but they are disorganized, still half asleep. The first wave crashes into them like a hammer, driving them back from the docks. Ned fights despite his injuries, his sword finding Lannister soldiers in the chaos. Theon Greyjoy fights at his side, protecting his lord's flank. Ser Barristan cuts through the enemies like wheat before a scythe, his white cloak soon stained red with blood. They push forward, street by street, toward the gates. The plan is working. The surprise is total. More ships land, disgorging more soldiers. The defenders are being overwhelmed by sheer numbers and the shock of the assault. By mid-morning, the river gate falls. Northern forces pour into the city proper. Fighting rages through the streets as they push toward the Red Keep. The fighting continues throughout the day, but the outcome is never in doubt. The Lannisters in gold cloaks are outnumbered and overwhelmed. By sunset, the city is secure. They find Tyrion Lannister in the Tower of the Hand, clearly having tried to coordinate some defense, but failing. The dwarf surrenders without a fight, smart enough to know when he's beaten. But when they search the Red Keep for Joffrey, Cersei, and her other children, they find something that makes Ned's blood run cold. In Maegor's holdfast, in the royal chambers, 3 bodies lie. Cersei Lannister, still beautiful even in death, lies on her bed in a silk gown. Her face is peaceful, as if she's merely sleeping. Beside her, in small beds, lie Joffrey and Tommen, the bastard king and the sweet little prince, both dead, both too young to deserve this fate. On the table sits an empty vial. Poison. The same poison that killed Jon Arryn, most likely. Cersei killed her children rather than let them face Stannis' justice. Killed them, and then herself, choosing death over surrender. Ned stares at the scene, and something twists in his chest. This was what he wanted to avoid. This is why he thought about warning Cersei in the first place. The children didn't deserve this, but maybe it would have happened anyway. Maybe there was no path that didn't lead to dead children. Maybe that's just the price of the Game of Thrones. Stannis stands beside him, his face unreadable.
She chose this, for herself and her children. I would have given them justice, but she chose poison instead. They were children. How could a mother do that to her children? They were bastards with no claim to anything. But yes, they were children.
He turns away, and Ned hears something in his voice. Quiet regret, but not satisfaction either. Just grim acknowledgement. The bodies are prepared for burial. Ned insists that they be treated with dignity, that proper rites be performed. Whatever their birth, whatever their mother's crimes, they deserved that much. Ravens are sent throughout the realm. The truth is proclaimed. Stannis Baratheon has taken King's Landing. Joffrey Baratheon, bastard born of incest, and his traitorous mother both committed suicide. The rightful king sits the Iron Throne. But even as they secure the city and begin the process of establishing Stannis' rule, Ned knows that this is far from over. The war isn't over. In many ways, it's just beginning. The next days are a flurry of activity. Stannis establishes his court, appointing Ned as Hand of the King, officially and formally. Ser Barristan is reinstated as Lord Commander of their Kingsguard, with orders to recruit new knights who embody true honor. They send the bones of Cersei, Tommen, and Joffrey back to Casterly Rock with a letter explaining how they died. Ned insists on this. It's honorable, and more importantly, it denies the Lannisters the chance to claim they were murdered. Let Tywin know his daughter chose poison over surrender. Let him know the truth. A Grand Maester loyal to Stannis writes the official account, and Ned reads it before it's sent. Stark truth, plainly stated. No propaganda, no spin, just facts. Ravens fly north to inform Robb and the other northern lords of the victory. Ravens fly to the Riverlands, to Riverrun, telling Lord Edmure Tully to hold his borders. Ravens fly to Dorne, feeling out whether the Martells might support Stannis against the Lannisters. And, crucially, Ravens fly to Storm's End and all other lords of the Stormlands who haven't yet declared. Stannis is on the throne. The capital is secure. It's time to choose sides. Tyrion Lannister is questioned extensively. The dwarf is surprisingly cooperative, answering questions honestly and even providing information about Lannister forces and positions. He seems resigned to his fate, though whether that's wisdom or despair, Ned can't tell. Then, when Ned asks why he's helping them, Tyrion's answer is simple.
Because my father is going to kill me anyway when this is over. I'd rather be useful to someone who might remember that I tried to help.
It's brutally pragmatic, and probably true. The information Tyrion provides is valuable. They learn that Tywin is indeed mobilizing his full strength, nearly 60,000 men between the Westerlands army and hired swords, that he was planning to crush the Riverlands and then march on Stannis' remaining holds in the Stormlands. They learn that Renly has been gathering supporters, promising a better kinship than his rigid older brother, that the Tyrells are considering supporting him, bringing their vast armies and wealth, and they learn that the word of the successful assault on King's Landing hasn't reached Tywin or Renly yet. The Lannisters are still marching as if nothing has changed, still preparing for battles that are now irrelevant. Stannis and his council discuss their next moves. With King's Landing secure, they have the political high ground, but militarily, they're still vulnerable. Their army is depleted from the assault. They need reinforcements. Lord Manderly suggests bringing more northern forces south by sea. The fleet is still intact, and White Harbor can provide more men. But Ned has another idea.
What if we don't bring men here? What if we bring the truth to the men already mustered? Explain. Tywin and Renly both have massive armies, but those armies are made up of lords and knights who swore oaths, who believe in honor and justice, at least in theory. What if we send envoys to them? Tell them the truth about what happened, about Joffrey's birth, about Robert's murder, about Cersei's suicide. They might not believe us. Some won't, but some will. Enough might. If even a portion of their forces refuse to fight for a lie, it weakens their position significantly.
It's risky. It requires faith that honor still means something in the Seven Kingdoms. But Ned has always had that faith, even when events tested it. Stannis considers this for a long moment, then nods.
Do it. Send envoys to every major lord in the Westerlands, the Reach, in the Stormlands. Tell them the truth. Show them the evidence. Let them decide which side of history they want to stand on.
The ravens fly. The envoys ride out, protected by small honor guards carrying documentation, sworn statements, genealogical records, witness accounts, and then they wait. Days pass. A week. 2 weeks. Reports trickle in from scouts and spies. The Lannisters and Renly's forces both learn about the fall of King's Landing. Their reactions are violent and immediate. Tywin Lannister rages, they're told. The Great Lord of Casterly Rock receives the bones of his daughter and grandchildren and orders them interred with full honors. Then he burns the letter explaining their deaths and declares total war on Stannis Baratheon. But something interesting happens among his bannermen. Lord Lefford asks uncomfortable questions about Joffrey's legitimacy. Sir Kevan Lannister looks troubled when he hears the truth. Several minor houses quietly withdraw their forces and return home, unwilling to die for what increasingly looks like a lie. Not many, not enough to cripple Tywin's army, but enough to notice. In the south, Renly's reaction is different. According to the reports, Stannis' younger brother actually laughs when he hears the news.
Of course, Stannis found a way to seize the throne while I was preparing to march. That's exactly like him. No sense of theater, just grim efficiency.
But the Tyrells are angry. They backed Renly expecting an easy path to power with a young, pliable king. Now Stannis, dutiful, rigid, difficult Stannis, sits the Iron Throne, and their plans are in disarray. Some of Renly's bannermen defect to Stannis immediately, Stormlords who never felt comfortable supporting the younger brother over the elder, lords who value tradition and legitimacy over charm and promises. Renly's 100,000 men dwindles to 80,000 almost overnight, but 80,000 is still a massive force, and Tywin, despite his losses, still commands nearly 60,000. Against Stannis' 65,000 in King's Landing, the math is brutal. If Tywin and Renly join forces, they'll have almost double the men, and that's exactly what happens. A raven arrives, carried by a ship from a spy in the Crownlands. Tywin Lannister has sent an envoy to Renly Baratheon, offering alliance, offering to fight together against Stannis. Ned reads the report and feels his stomach sink.
They're going to unite. 140,000 men marching against King's Landing. Let them come. This city has withstood sieges before. Your Grace, we barely have enough supplies for our own men. A prolonged siege. The city can't be starved if we control the bay. We have the ships. We can bring food from the free cities if necessary. If we can keep the bay secure. But Tywin will know that. He'll find a way to cut off our supply lines.
The War Council debates late into the night. Strategies are proposed and discarded. The brutal mathematics of war dominate every discussion. Finally, exhausted, they adjourn. Tomorrow they'll plan more. Tomorrow they'll find solutions. But as Ned walks back to his chambers in the Tower of the Hand, he feels the weight of what's coming. They pulled off an incredible victory taking King's Landing, but holding it against a combined force of 140,000 men, that might be impossible. He finds a letter waiting for him, delivered by Raven from Winterfell. Robb's handwriting.
Father, the raids continue successfully. Tywin is furious, sending men in every direction trying to catch us. But we stay mobile, keep hitting his supplies. He doesn't know where we'll strike next. I've learned so much these past few weeks. About leadership, about war, about the impossible decisions commanders face. I understand now why you looked so tired when you came home from the rebellion. Whatever happens, know that the North stands with you. We'll keep fighting until the Lannisters pay for what they did. Your son, Robb.
Ned reads the letter twice, pride swelling in his chest. His son has become a man, a leader. Whatever else happens, at least he can be proud of that. He writes a response, telling Robb about the fall of King's Landing, about Stannis taking the throne, about the armies gathering against him. He tells his son he's proud of him, that he loves him. He doesn't say what he's thinking. That the next time they're together, one or both of them might be dead. That's the reality of war. That's the price of justice. The Raven flies north at dawn, carrying a father's love to his son. And in the south, two massive armies begin their march toward King's Landing. The war is far from over. The next weeks are tense with preparation. Every able-bodied man in King's Landing is put to work reinforcing defenses. The walls are checked and repaired. Scorpions and catapults are positioned on the battlements. Stores of weapons and armor are distributed. Stannis proves to be exactly the king you'd want during a siege. Organized, efficient, uncompromising. He works 18 hours a day, personally overseeing every aspect of the defense. He sleeps 4 hours a night and eats 1 meal a day, and he expects his commanders to match his intensity. Ned does his best to keep up, though his injured leg still pains him. He coordinates with the northern forces, making sure they're integrated properly with Stannis' commanders. He meets the small folk, listens to their concerns, trying to keep morale up as the threat of siege looms. Sir Barristan drills the soldiers relentlessly. The old knight is determined that when the battle comes, the defenses will be perfect. He teaches the men how to counter ladders, how to pour boiling oil, how to hold a wall against impossible odds. The armies arrive 3 weeks after the fall of King's Landing. Scouts report them approaching from 2 directions. Tywin Lannister from the north, his Westerland's army marching in perfect formation. Renly Baratheon from the south, his massive force stretching for miles. They meet outside the walls of King's Landing and set up camp. Hundreds of tents, thousands of campfires, an army so large it seems to cover the entire horizon. From the walls, Ned watches them prepare, watches banners being raised. The Lion of Lannister, the Golden Rose of Tyrell, the Crowned Stag of Baratheon, an alliance that never should have existed, united by ambition and revenge. Stannis stands beside him, his face unreadable.
140,000 men. They'll try to starve us out, surround the city and wait for us to break. The walls are strong, and we control the bay. They can't starve us as long as we can resupply by sea. Then they'll try to break the bay.
It's not a question, it's a statement of fact. And he's right. The siege begins the next morning, not with a massive assault, but with skirmishes, probing attacks to test the defenses, arrows flying from both sides, small groups trying to approach the walls only to be driven back by defenders. It's all just testing, feeling out weaknesses. The real battle hasn't begun yet. That night, the War Council meets again. Davos has troubling news.
Our scouts reports ships approaching from the south. A large fleet bearing the colors of House Redwyne, Tyrell's naval force.
How many?
At least 100 warships, maybe more. If they engage our fleet, the bay could turn into a bloodbath.
The Redwynes are formidable sailors, but so are we. We'll meet them and break this fleet before they can establish a blockade.
Plans are made for naval engagement. Half of Stannis' fleet will sortie out to meet the Redwyne fleet, while the other half protects the harbor. But as they're planning, a messenger arrives with news that changes everything.
Your Grace, a delegation has arrived under flag of truce. They request to speak with King Stannis and Lord Stark. From which army? From both, Your Grace. Lord Tywin Lannister and King Renly Baratheon request a parley.
The room goes silent, Ned and Stannis exchanging glances. This is unexpected. What would they want to talk about? They have every advantage. All they have to do is wait, unless they don't actually want a long siege, unless they want to resolve this quickly before something changes.
We'll meet them. but not alone. Full honor guard, and we'll meet on neutral ground. I won't be ambushed.
The meeting is arranged for the next day in an open field between the city walls and the enemy camp. Stannis brings 100 guards. Tywin and Renly do the same. Ned rides out with Stannis, Ser Barristan at their side. As they approach the meeting ground, he gets his first close look at the enemy commanders. Tywin looks exactly as he remembers from Robert's rebellion. Cold, calculating, every inch the lord who crushed House Rain and Tarback without mercy. But there's something new in his eyes, something hard and broken. His lost daughter and grandchildren. That changes a man, even one as ruthless as Tywin. Beside him is Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer, the man who broke his oath and murdered the king he was sworn to protect, who threw Bran from a tower, who killed Ned's men in the streets of King's Landing. Jaime's face is cold, empty. The easy charm is gone, replaced by something darker. And then there's Renly, younger, more handsome than Stannis, with an easy smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. He's surrounded by knights in armor so polished it gleams, playing at war like its attorney. The two groups meet in the center of the field. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then, Tywin breaks the silence.
Stannis, Lord Stark, you put us in an interesting situation.
I've claimed my throne and exposed the lies of the Lannisters. That's hardly interesting. It's simply justice.
Justice. What a fascinating word coming from a man who invaded a city by surprise and drove a woman to poison her own children.
Cersei chose that path herself. We would have given the children mercy.
Jaime's hand moves to his sword, but Tywin stops him with a glance.
Perhaps, but the result is the same. My daughter and grandchildren are dead, and you've taken something that does not belong to you.
I've taken what is mine. By every law of succession, I am the rightful king.
Laws of succession. Always so rigid, brother. Tell me, do laws matter when you have no power to enforce them?
I have enough power to hold this city against your rebel.
For how long? Weeks? Months? Meanwhile, your support crumbles. Your allies abandon you. And eventually, we starve you out or break through the walls.
You lose thousands of men trying. Maybe tens of thousands. Is that really worth it?
To avenge my daughter? My grandsons? To see justice? Yes, you should understand that, Lord Stark. You who value honor so highly. If someone killed your children, wouldn't you tear the realm apart to make them pay?
The words hit hard because they're true. If someone killed his children, there's nothing Ned wouldn't do. But that doesn't change the facts.
Your daughter committed treason. She cuckolded the king and put bastards in line for the throne. We didn't kill her. She chose prison over facing the truth of what she's done. You drove her to it. You and your precious honor. If you'd kept your mouth shut, if you'd left well enough alone, she'd still be alive. My children would still be alive. Your children. You admit to it then. You admit the incest. And what does it matter now? They're dead. All of them. You've already won.
Renly looks between his brother and the Lannisters, and Ned sees something calculating in his expression.
Here's the situation, Stannis. You're trapped. We outnumber you more than 2 to 1. Yes, you can hold the city for a while, but eventually you'll break. And when you do, everyone inside those walls will pay the price.
Get to your point.
My point is this. Surrender. Abdicate your claim. Acknowledge me as king, and I'll be merciful. You can retire to Dragonstone and live out your days in peace. Lord Stark can go back to the north. No more bloodshed. No more war.
You want me to surrender my rightful throne to you? To hand the 7 kingdoms over to someone who has no claim whatsoever?
I have the claim of strength, of popular support. People love me, brother. They don't love you.
Love doesn't determine succession. Law does.
Then we are at an impasse. There is another option. Stand trial. You and Lord Stark both. Come out of the city, submit to justice for your crimes, and we'll spare the city.
We've committed no crimes.
That's for a trial to determine. Face your accusers honorably, Lord Stark. Isn't that what you'd want? What you'd demand?
It's a trap, and a clever one, appealing to Ned's sense of honor, knowing he'd be tempted to accept to save the city. But Stannis doesn't give him a chance to respond.
We're done here. You have nothing to offer but demands and threats. I am the rightful king, and I will not surrender my throne to a younger brother with delusions of grandeur, or a grieving father seeking revenge.
He turns his horse to leave. Ned and the guards do the same. Behind them, Renly calls out.
This is your final chance, brother. Surrender, and I'll be merciful. Refuse, and I'll take that city and everything in it.
Stannis doesn't even look back. As they ride toward the gates, Ned speaks quietly.
They're going to attack soon. This parley was just to see if they could avoid a costly siege.
Let them come. The walls will hold. But Ned hears the doubt in his voice, the same doubt he feels. 140,000 men. Even the strongest walls can fall under that kind of assault. They ride through the gates, and the massive doors close behind them with a boom that sounds like a death knell. The siege of King's Landing has truly begun. That night, as Ned lies in his chamber trying to sleep, he thinks about everything that led to this moment, every decision, every choice that seemed right at the time. If he'd warned Cersei, would it have turned out differently? Would she have fled, saving her children, or would she have struck first, killing Robert before he knew the truth? If he'd told Robert sooner, confronted him before the hunt, could they have handled it more carefully? Or would Robert's rage have led to the same violent confrontation? There's no way to know, no way to see the paths not taken. All Ned can do is move forward, fight for the truth, protect his family, serve the rightful king, and pray that it's enough. Outside, the enemy camp burns bright with thousands of fires. Tomorrow they'll attack. Tomorrow, men will die. And somewhere out there, beyond the armies and the siege, Ned knows other forces are moving. Perhaps players entering the game. What happens next will determine the fate of the Seven Kingdoms. But that's a story for another day. For now, Ned Stark closes his eyes and tries to rest, tries to find strength for the battle to come. Because tomorrow, King's Landing will face its greatest test. And whether they survive depends on plans still being made, alliances still being forged, and forces still sailing across distant seas. The war has only just begun. That's our theory. Westeros is a land of exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you'd like to join us on this journey across the Seven Kingdoms and beyond, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.